Sabrina was a woman who prided herself on punctuality. Her daily routine was meticulously organised down to the last second. She began her day with a steaming cup of coffee, followed by a light breakfast, a tender kiss for her son, a warm embrace for her husband, and she was out the door. Her life operated with the precision of a finely tuned Swiss watch, a treasured gift from her husband, Ethan, on their 5th anniversary. "Honey, don't forget your phone," Ethan reminded her as she reached the doorway. "What would I do without you?" Sabrina replied with a grateful smile, taking the device from him. "Ilara, please ensure Sean finishes his yogurt today. He skipped it yesterday," Sabrina instructed the nanny. Ilara nodded, holding the energetic 3-year-old, who smiled at her warmly. Ilara listened intently, reacting with "amazing" and "is that so?" at just the right times. Sean adored this attention. Sabrina had noticed Ilara's gift for active listening right away when they hired her a year ago, a rare and valuable trait. Sabrina cast an evaluative glance at the nanny. Ilara was roughly 5 years younger than Sabrina, with lively brown eyes and chestnut hair, casually tied in a loose bun. Typically dressed in jeans and oversized sweaters, today she wore a light dress. Perhaps the weather had warmed up. Sabrina didn't dwell on it. She shut the door behind her, not to return until evening. Once in the car, the woman realized she had left behind her bag with her laptop and crucial documents. She had a significant client meeting at 10, and the bag held all her prepared materials, the presentation and the contract. Frustrated, she hurried back to the house. The door swung open noiselessly, a testament to Ethan's meticulous care 7 years ago when they first moved in. "So the front door sound doesn't wake Sean when we come home late," he had explained. The memory brought a pang to Sabrina's heart. The bag was in the hallway, right where she had left it. Sabrina was about to pick it up when she heard laughter. A woman's laughter, playful and flirtatious. The kind of laughter that... No, it couldn't be. She froze. "Stop it, Ethan!" Ilara's voice sounded different than usual. There were undertones not meant for an employer's ears. Silence thickened around Sabrina, turning her into a speechless statue. She quietly moved toward the sound, feeling each step as a struggle against a strong current. "Come on, she's already gone," Ethan's voice low and husky. Sabrina had only heard that in his tone in their private moments, when the bedroom door was locked, and the world shrank to the size of their bed. She stopped at the slightly open kitchen door. A painful desire to look inside battled with paralyzing fear of seeing something that would change her life forever. "We should continue your love games only when you hear the car leave." Ilara laughed again. Slowly, as if in a dream, Sabrina peeked through the crack. Ethan was standing, pinning Ilara against the kitchen table. His hand gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. The same gesture he had once used with Sabrina. The nanny smiled up at him, her eyes filled with the same tenderness one reserves for a loved one. Time stood still. Somewhere, far away in another world, the wall clock ticked. The coffee machine hummed, and 3-year-old Sean watched cartoons in the nursery. But here, in this frozen bubble of time, there were only the 3 of them. Husband, wife, and the woman between them. "Come on," Ethan whispered. "This is not the first time. Everything will be all right." Not the first time. Those words fell on dumb Sabrina like an avalanche on an unhidden skier. So, this had happened before. But how long? A month? 6 months? Or the whole year Ilara has been working for us? "And you didn't want me to come work for you," Ilara purred meanwhile, and Sabrina remembered their argument, Ethan's insistent objections to hiring a nanny, which she had taken as concern for Sean's safety and their family budget. Sabrina felt paralyzed. her feet seemingly glued to the floor. She couldn't move or speak as a whirlwind of thoughts consumed her. Sean, the mortgage, their shared business, her parents living far away, the summer vacation they had planned. What should she do? Make a scandal right now in the kitchen? Leave quietly, pretending she saw nothing? Pack her things and take Sean with her? She was at a loss. The woman who always had a plan, a meticulous schedule, and a well-thought-out strategy was now utterly helpless, faced with betrayal. The sound of Sean crying in the nursery jolted Sabrina from her shock. She heard Elara say, "I need to check on the baby," followed by Ethan's response, "Go, and I'll make coffee. We have the whole day ahead of us." The whole day. While Sabrina would be negotiating deals, reviewing contracts and planning marketing campaigns, these two would be enjoying each other's company, in her home, near her son. She retreated into the shadows of the hallway. Elara walked past, unaware of her presence, and entered the nursery. Sabrina listened as Elara comforted Sean, her voice soft and soothing as she told him a story. Then a sudden clarity struck Sabrina, like the final piece of a puzzle snapping into place. A plan materialized in her mind, as clear and precise as crystal. She quietly walked to the front door, opened and closed it loudly as if she had just arrived. "It's me! What a fool I am! I forgot my bag!" she called out loudly. A few seconds later, Ethan appeared in the hallway, his face a picture of perfectly feigned surprise. "Honey, is something wrong?" She smiled, broadly and genuinely, as if nothing was amiss. "You won't believe it, but I was on the way to the office and realized I'd forgotten my bag with the documents. And you know, I have an important meeting today." "Oh," he nodded. "It's right here in the hallway." "Okay, darling, I'm leaving," Sabrina said, taking up her bag. "And where's Sean? With Elara in the nursery?" Ethan shrugged. "He's being fussy today." "Poor baby." Sabrina shook her head. "I'll go kiss him one more time." Sabrina entered the nursery. Elara was sitting on the floor next to Sean, who was engrossed in playing with his building blocks. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. "Ethan says you're being fussy," Sabrina asked, kissing her son on the forehead. "A little," Elara replied, "but we're playing now. Everything's fine." "Wonderful." Sabrina straightened up. "Elara, can I have a word with you?" They stepped out into the hallway. Ethan was lingering in the kitchen, pretending to be busy with the coffee. "Listen, I have a favour to ask," Sabrina began. "Today is our anniversary with Ethan. 7 years together. I want to surprise him. Could you leave a bit earlier? Around 5? Elara blinked. "Of course, no problem." "Just don't tell Ethan, okay? Let it be a surprise." "Of course. Congratulations on your anniversary." "Thank you," Sabrina smiled. "See you this evening, then." She left the house, got into her car, and drove towards the office. At the first traffic light, she pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Good morning, Carl. Listen, remember you offered me a stake in that project in a town on the seaside?" "I'm in." "Yes, right now." "No, Ethan doesn't mind. We've discussed it. I'll come by today and sign the papers. And one more thing. I need a good family lawyer. Can you recommend anyone?" In the evening, precisely at 6 o'clock, Sabrina walked through the front door. As anticipated, Elara had already left. Ethan met her in the living room, unusually cheerful. "How was your day?" he asked, giving her a peck on the cheek. "Quite productive," Sabrina responded coolly. "And yours?" "Nothing out of the ordinary," he said with a shrug. Elara mentioned she had to leave early. Something urgent came up. "Really?" Sabrina pretended to be surprised. "How's Sean been?" she asked. "We had a fantastic day," Ethan replied, gesturing towards the nursery, where Sean's laughter echoed. "We built a rocket ship with his building blocks." "That sounds lovely," Sabrina said with a smile. Could you help Sean wash up for dinner while I set the table? I have a little surprise planned." As Ethan and Sean headed to the bathroom, Sabrina swiftly arranged a take-out meal on the dining table next to the plates. She then uncorked a bottle of wine she had purchased on her way home. Ethan returned with Sean and seated him at the table. "What's for dinner? I'm starving." "It's a surprise." Sabrina poured wine into the glasses. "By the way, do you remember what day it is today?" Ethan paused. Wednesday." "That too?" she smiled. "Anything else?" "What else?" "Today marks exactly 1 year since Ilara started working for us. I thought we should celebrate." He relaxed. "Oh, right, a year already." "And 7 years since we've been together," Sabrina added. "On one hand, an eternity. On the other, like a single day." "Yes, time flies." Ethan raised his glass. "To us?" "Well, let's drink to the truth." Sabrina clinked glasses with him. "And to new beginnings." They had dinner, discussing trivial events of the day. Sabrina shared news about a major deal she had closed and mentioned plans to expand the business. Ethan nodded, asked questions, but his mind seemed elsewhere. After dinner, Sabrina put Sean to bed, reading him his favourite bedtime story. The boy fell asleep almost instantly, exhausted from the busy day. Returning to the living room, she handed him documents she had prepared with her lawyer. "What is this, Sabrina?" His voice was relaxed. "Divorce papers," she replied calmly, "and a property division agreement. I've already signed my part." Ethan paled. "Have you lost your mind? What divorce? What happened?" Sabrina sat across from him, hands folded on her lap. "This morning, when I returned for my bag, I overheard your conversation with Ilara and saw you in the kitchen." Ethan was silent. Then his face contorted. "Sabrina, it's not what you thought." "Please." Sabrina raised her hand, halting him. "Don't bother me with 'it's not what you think,' or with 'it only happened once,' or with 'it meant nothing.' Let's spare each other the clichés. Heard your conversation, your words about 'not the first time.' That's what you said, which means it happened before. I don't know how long this has been going on, and honestly, I don't care to know." Ethan sat silently, his head lowered. "You're right," he finally admitted. "I acted terribly, but I don't want a divorce. We can work through this. I'll break up with Ilara. We can see a family therapist." "No," Sabrina shook her head firmly. "This isn't about Ilara. It's about you breaking my trust. You betrayed our family, and what's worse, you did it in our home, near our son. That's miserable, nasty, and unforgivable." "I love you," Ethan pleaded, looking into her eyes. "You and Sean are my family." "If you loved us, you wouldn't have done this," Sabrina replied coldly. She stood up, her voice steady. "The documents state that the house stays with me and Sean. You keep the business and the car. I think that's fair." "And what about our joint work, the company?" Ethan said, a hint of desperation in his voice. "I'm stepping away from the business," Sabrina declared. "I've received a partnership offer for another venture. I've already accepted." Ethan's hands clenched into fists. "You planned all of this in just one day?" "I've always been quick to make decisions, you know that," Sabrina replied, allowing herself a bitter smile for the first time during their exchange. "Especially when there's no other option." "You had a choice. We could have—" "No, Ethan," she interrupted firmly. "Some things can't be mended. Some houses, once burned, stay that way. You have until tomorrow to gather your belongings. You can sleep in the guest room tonight. I'll tell Sean that you're going on a business trip. Then we'll figure out how to explain the truth to him, gradually.
Sabrina, please don't do this to me. To our family,
Ethan pleaded. The woman turned and walked towards the stairs. At the first step, she turned back and said, "And don't contact Ilara tonight. She's had a rough day too. I called her agency and told them she showed up to work intoxicated and left Sean unsupervised. I doubt she'll be working as a nanny again."
You couldn't have done that,
Ethan said, astonished. Why not? Sabrina stopped midway up the stairs. She destroyed my family. I destroyed her career. It doesn't make us even, but it's the best I can do in this situation, and honestly, perhaps I prevented other families from that snake. She went upstairs, entered the bedroom and closed the door. Only then, alone with herself, did Sabrina allow the tears to flow. She cried silently, hugging a pillow as she had done as a child when she didn't want her parents to hear. In the morning, when she came down to the kitchen, Ethan was already gone. His toothbrush, razor, and several shirts from the closet were missing. On the table lay signed divorce papers and a short note.
"Forgive me. I was a fool. Don't worry about Sean. I'll help you both as much as I can."
Sabrina filed the papers away, threw out the note, and began preparing breakfast for her son. "Mum, where's Dad?" Sean asked when he woke up. "Dad's on a business trip, sweetie," she replied, placing a bowl of oatmeal in front of him. "He'll visit you soon." "Is Ilara coming today?" Sabrina shook her head. "No, sweetie, she won't be coming any more, but we'll have a new nanny. I'm sure you'll like her." Sean thoughtfully chewed his breakfast. "Will we play astronauts today?" "Of course," Sabrina smiled, feeling the tightness in her chest begin to ease. "Right after breakfast." Ahead lay many hurdles, explaining the situation to her parents, starting a new job, and navigating life without familiar support. But she would handle it. She always did. That evening, after tucking Sean into bed, Sabrina went to the terrace with a glass of wine. Twilight descended over the garden, and in the distance a dog barked. She recalled the first evening she and Ethan had spent there after purchasing the house.
"Imagine, this house is ours," he had said. "Our children will grow up here. We'll grow old together here."
She took a sip of wine, reflecting on how life rarely unfolds as planned. The invisible threads of destiny weave intricate patterns, sometimes tearing apart what seemed indestructible and binding together what was never meant to be. This is just the start, Sabrina thought, gazing up at the stars. A new chapter, and this time I'll be the one writing it.